Aloha and good evening. Welcome to the Libertarian Party of Hawaii Executive Committee meeting. We are getting started here at 7:06, Wednesday, March 25th. And I'll call this meeting to order and we'll get started. First of all, we have the roll call. Madam Secretary, do you mind calling for that?
Chair Martin,
Present.
Treasurer Zehr,
Present.
and I'm Abbra Green, Secretary, also present.
She'll also call for the members who aren't here. They're just formality. That's okay. So for Celina and Ken are absent.
Celina, Monge, and Ken Schoolland are absent this evening.
All right, excellent, cool. We do have a quorum. We can continue. We'll start by the approval of the February 25th, 2026 minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Any objection to the minutes?
No objection.
All right, hearing none, passes without objection. I'll wait for the secretary to catch up just a bit. If anybody wants to make any additions or amendments to the agenda, feel free to go ahead and raise your hand or jump in. All right, any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll move us to a vote. Is there any objection to the agenda?
Nope.
Hearing without objection, agenda passes. Start with reports. Chairman reports for me. We have some deadlines that are beginning to approach for our candidates and for our party. We're definitely have some of that on the agenda today to deal with both volunteers and for campaign deadlines. We want to kind of send out the call, and I want to work with anybody who's willing. Celina's joining us. If you could add her to the roll call once she is in the room. Aloha, Celina, if you can hear me. Yeah, so we want to make sure that everybody's aware. We've discouraged candidates from filing early. One of the lessons learned in Hawaii is definitely hold as long as you can. And we've been encouraging candidate teams to start building your signature banks and databases now so that when you're ready and when you pull papers, you can hit the ground running and get those signatures immediately because you've already got them lined up. So that little bit of preparation goes a long way. So you're not chasing down signatures when it's time. And that does help a lot. You also want to make sure that you get a lot of signatures, as many as you possibly can. So you don't turn in your papers until the final day or two, or until you have greatly elapsed the number that you need. One way to take a candidate off the ballot is to remove signatories from their papers, and that is something we do not want to happen. So not just any signatures will do. There is a something to be said about quality. Anybody who's thinking about running, whether as a paper candidate or as a real effort campaign, I am more than happy to help. So feel free to reach out to me if you're thinking about running and you don't want to work with me. There is other people in this party who are more than happy to help you out, who can get you hooked up with whatever materials and whatever assistance you need. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. As far as things go with our initiatives, we are still kicking ass with the legislative session. We are still hitting tons of bills with both written and Zoom testimony. We're planning for an in-person um, kind of activism session at the Capitol that will occur kind of at the peak of the legislative cycle here, which will be great. And libertarians are encouraged to come and join us and pick the bills that matter most to you, that will be getting big votes, and help us help you get the outcomes that we need out of our government. As far as the SB 2054, 54, Defend Hawaii Act had a hearing today. It was unfortunate that they didn't call on me to answer the questions they were asking, because They just needed somebody to say that it doesn't give the governor any new authority that he doesn't already have. But it doesn't matter because thankfully most people are in support of this. And it was really great because I think Chair Tarnas and Representative Bellotti actually answered the questions well enough. So I kind of just stood on a written argument that I made to re-include some of the original language, which some of the representatives are in favor of doing, that would expand the governor's kind of established authority over both titles. So we've suggested those amendments, and we have support for that. So we have some cool legislative battles going on, and then we are ruthlessly throwing down in the electoral side of things, and we are going to hold people's feet to the fire kind of no matter what. So it's going to be really fun here, and we're going to have a blast depending on how many districts we can kind of occupy electorally. Um, Finally, we have some other local outreach efforts for our county parties that are going on, and we were going to be incentivizing in-person meetings and helping to potentially pay costs for any overhead that's necessary to get our members in the door and make things happen on a regular basis. We need to get back. COVID disrupted all the parties, and some of them went back to in-person meetings faster than others, and those that did benefited greatly. And I think it's a key part of what we need to pay attention to. Lastly, I don't see it on the agenda, but you know what? Actually, I'll save that because I think it's a question that needs to be asked privately before we announce it. But there's an award that we're contemplating nominating one of our members for. I'll save that until I'm absolutely sure. Madam Secretary, did I miss anything? And are there any questions for me from anyone? All right, hearing none, I will quit yapping at you guys and I will give the floor to the treasurer. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. The floor is yours.
All right. Hey, thank you. For the balances, I won't read those line by line. The significant change to the expenses for this past month has been Zoom. I believe this was the annual subscription, so that went back 177. Um, we have influx of $75 from PayPal that should be hitting our CSC account soon. FEC account, since the JFC has been no more and we haven't had any recent events using the FEC money, that balance has stayed consistent. Upcoming reporting deadlines. So if we project over the 1,000 for the year, which I think we're good for, we'll stay on continuous reporting for CSC since we have increased reporting for an election year. So our next reporting for that will be July 29th. FEC reporting, so our April quarterly will be due 15 April, so in a couple weeks. Nothing much to report on that one, but that's upcoming, so I will be on that. Switching over to legislative session, our hearing list is updated for what's going on. So we had a big influx. I believe it was 6 or 7 bills that were heard today. So I submitted testimony on that side. I know you all did. I believe I saw one update email come out today. So I'm going to shoot out a fresh update on Facebook for upcoming hearings that are on our tracker. So I still believe we're around 230 bills that we're tracking. Still working on the financial portion for any potential candidates running for this session, the financial side of it. Pending any questions, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Treasurer? Going once. Going twice. All right, Ms. Green, if you could continue us along the orders of the day.
Yes. First up is a motion for Star Cole to give her a membership for the year, based on her activism efforts so far. She actually helped us put in a whole bunch of flyers to fight the fluoride bills this year. And we had them covering helicide, like every water spout and every what do you call it, the health food stores and stuff like that. And then on top of it, she's also been gathering signatures for our Read Into the Law initiative and has been submitting testimony for Defend Hawaii. She's literally like, she's been contacting me every so often, every couple weeks. She'll say, "Hey, I have a few minutes or I have a couple days here. How can I help?" So I would like to move that we give her a 1 year membership subscription.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Discussion is in order. I can allow a non-member to speak if there's no objection from the members of this body, though any members that have discussion items would be heard first. Ms. Nguyen, if you'd like to speak, you may.
Yes, thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Chair. So, giving out honorary memberships for activism is highly irregular. So, typically, honorary memberships are given to people that have sacrificed themselves in some way, have been victims of the state, have been served jail time, have been to jail, or in many cases, people that have served the party, given their money and their contributions like for over 20 years. So doing some activism for a few years, it's highly irregular to give an honorary membership to that type of contribution. So this is going across all of the state affiliates in the country. Honorary memberships are just not given out willy-nilly. So I would highly recommend for you to be much more conservative about how you're giving out honorary memberships.
Understood. And just to clarify, you're aware this is not a lifetime membership. It is just an annual membership.
So my statement still applies for a 1 year membership. This is highly irregular.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts on that. I appreciate it. I'm sure the members will take that under advisement. All right. Is there any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, I can move us to a vote. And Secretary, could you do a roll call? Or would you like me to call for objection?
Is the roll call like me asking individual people what their vote is?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. Chair Martin, or sorry, you go last, huh?
Yes.
So,
sorry, I know we've been unanimous a lot lately. And I was handling roll calls before that.
all right, Celina Monge,
Yes.
Nicholas Zehr.
Yes.
I vote aye, and Austin Martin.
I will abstain. Motion passes. All right, excellent. Cool. Abbra, once you're ready, we can go ahead and open up the next topic. Excellent.
All right, the next two kind of go hand in hand. I do want to mention specifically the deadline for election observers is July 18th. And then we also have the deadlines for election that we can go over together. If it'll load for me. There
It's
we go.
the Office of Elections calendar. Yeah. Excellent.
Yes. So candidate filing ends on June 2nd. The deadline to withdraw candidacy is June 3rd.
Yeah, and they do that on purpose so that you cannot leverage your candidacy as a third party or as a primary candidate. They want to turn it into a top two state, by the way, guys. And I'm sorry, I might be um, veering off just a little bit, but if they pass that, there's several bills that, if passed this year, they would have immediate impacts on ballot access for all parties, including Republicans. Actually, it's a bit of a nightmare. If anybody wants more information about that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't know if there's too many other big dates here coming up. Some of
We
these are
want
very specific to like certain situations, but
Yes. If one thing that I really want to focus on for our candidates and candidate teams, we really want to encourage them to volunteer to help us work the polls and watch the polls. That's a really important thing that we want to make sure that we have libertarians present for that process. It also is going to be helpful in giving kind of a broader view and useful session for people who are, engaged in this process. If we can get good support teams, and the reality is, we don't have an army of foot soldiers to do a lot of the stuff. So what we'll end up doing is probably having a support team that overlaps and works with, multiple people in the party who are, working towards the same ends. Um, at least that's what I'm considering to keep things simple. Cool. Abbra, any further information that we need on these deadlines? Part of this is for the benefit of our candidates and other members who may be involved. All right. Excellent. So again, the call is out for observers and poll watchers, and the election filing deadlines are available. We will move along to the next item of business unless there are any motions based on these items.
Hey, Austin, real quick.
Yes.
Hey,
Mr.
yeah, just wanted to update going back to what you're talking about. A couple bills introduced in legislative session. I haven't seen. I know the ones you're talking about. I haven't seen those advance, so that hopefully is a good thing.
I'm really relieved to hear that, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully we don't have any resurrections from the discard pile this year, because there were some nightmares that we dodged. And thank you. Yeah, hopefully everything should be static, assuming that ballot access rules stay the same and they don't change the game on us. We should be good until 2028. Isn't that right, Mr. Zehr?
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's correct.
Right on. This year does matter, and the more that we can net of the vote this year, the easier it is for our party, and the longer that we extend that. Currently, we are set until 2028, so we have a pretty good situation here with ballot access. However, them wanting to change the rules is kind of a curveball, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. Any further questions or discussions on these items? Any motions from members? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on. We have a resolution opposing military intervention in war with. I'm sorry, Madam Secretary, I'll let you announce this. I believe this is actually from one of our members, correct?
it is. We have a long-time member who requested that we put out a statement about the war with Iran, and he was particularly pleased with ACLU's that they put out. And recently, Austin already passed this on the LNC level as a resolution. So I basically just changed the language to fit the Libertarian Party of Hawaii. Do you want me to read it out loud?
If there's a request from members to do so, then we can. Otherwise, I will assume that members have read and are familiar with this. The one thing is to ensure that this is the fully updated version that includes. Yes, there it is. Okay, so yeah, it started on February 28th. Okay,
Yes,
that
I
looks
did
good.
add the amendment in. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Yeah, I wish I'd moved this earlier, and you guys have my apologies for not introducing this at the same time in our state committee. That was an oversight on my part, and a big thank you to Mr. Kevin. I see you're not with us tonight, but I am assuming that you will watch and catch up online. So I just wanted to thank you for suggesting this, and I'm more than happy to do it here. Um, cool. Any discussion on this?
Hey, Abra, I like this a lot. Um, I read through it and had a couple ideas to add if you're okay with me emailing it to the group. Um, a comment on the authorization for use of military force. Um, let's see, adding a national security base argument, talking about blowback, and adding a section on cost to Americans, and maybe something that's like adding like a clause for respect to service members to show it's an anti-war policy, not an anti-military policy. Just a couple, yeah, couple thoughts there.
You would you like to amend this in meeting or send it to email ballot?
If I may, I'm amenable to all of those things. They all sound good, but going through it in the meeting might be time consuming. I'm happy to
Yeah,
move it to an email ballot, but if you want to, we can do it now.
I'm definitely good not doing it now.
Okay, no
Or we don't
problem.
need to because I think this looks great as it is too.
I really don't mind if we want to put a little bit of spin on it. So feel free to postpone this to an email ballot, or feel we can either way. I am totally flexible.
Yeah,
Is
I
there a
like it.
second on this?
Who,
Oh, sorry.
who's the audience like that we're gonna send it out to?
We're going to definitely put it on our social medias and on our blog, our website. We're going to also try to go ahead and put this through anywhere where it might be relevant in our legislative activism. That's kind of an if. With our SB 2054 fight, there is a chance that some defend the guard language could make its way back into the bill. And assuming that that happens, this would then kind of be more relevant. But I doubt that it will honestly get presented to the legislature unless there is something that changes. Um, more to the point, it would also be something that we could send to local media outlets, though I would probably want to appoint a point of contact to do so.
Cool. Thanks.
No problem. Do we want, or just to clarify, are we making the motion to do the amendments via email ballot, or are we moving this now?
Um, uh, Let me answer Nick a little more thoroughly on that too. Mr. Mulkern specifically asked if we might stand beside ACLU in their resolution. So I might do like an email to them directly to saying, hey, good job, we support this. I can send you guys a copy of that too when I open up the email ballot. So yeah, I think that would probably be the best route so that we all have the same information we're working off of.
I like it. Okay. Mr. Zehr, is that acceptable to you too?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, then there is a motion to move this to an email ballot for further discussion and amendment. Is there a second? Looking for a second. Going once.
Second, my mic wasn't working.
You're good. No worries. All right, cool. We have a motion and a second. Excellent. All right. Any further discussion? Or wait, does this get discussion? This is a motion to postpone, so no discussion, I think. If there's no objection to that, I will go ahead and move us directly to a vote. All right. All those in favor of moving this to an email ballot? Actually, let me just ask, is there any objection? Hearing none, passes without objection. This item of business is moved to email ballot. Cool. The next item of business is a judicial committee amicus. I will go ahead and introduce this since I am taking point on this. I
We
will
have a
be
hand.
right on. Thank you very much. I will be sending a amicus to the judicial committee. I think that this is a really important issue right now. The LNC is waging full-blown war on membership rights. They are, without process, without hearing, and without trial, issuing disciplinary actions against members, including myself and others, against the bylaws. They are attempting to engage in what I believe is bad faith litigation against former members. And regardless of how you feel about the chair, I think it is really, really important, the former chair, that we honor the process and that we make sure that if we're going to do this, that we do it the right way. And that was not done here. And they want to ignore that. And instead of fixing those issues and going back and doing proper fact finding, they're trying to move full steam ahead with things that, in my opinion, it's really not even an opinion, it's a black and white verifiable reality that if they proceed with the course that they want to go on, we will be in an existential crisis where it is not guaranteed that there will be another convention after this one. It's an extremely bad situation. If you think I'm exaggerating, please call me and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But in my capacity of chair, I intend to write a letter to the LNC from our board, and I wanted to encourage and give the members an opportunity to either object or sign on to this communication. So I wanted to give you advance notice before I do so because obviously, the LNC stuff is super controversial. I will be looking for other parties to support this as well. We have a really serious situation on our hands, and I think it needs to be dealt with. Not just in a corner, but in the wider party, and get the state parties involved with their opinions. This is not in its absolute final form, and it's not going up for a vote tonight. This is to let you know what I intend to do and welcome your involvement or any suggested edits or your opinions about it before we finalize and move forward with that. With that, I can open up the floor, and I believe there's a hand already up. Whoops, I just typed the wrong button, but from memory, I think Kelly had her hand up. If there's no objection from members, I will give her the floor and recognize her. Kelly, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me. This amicus is yet another waste of time. So the LNC has already moved to take immediate civil litigation against former Chair Angela McArdle because she has embezzled $114,000 from the National Libertarian Party.
I'm gonna just stop you right there.
The litigation is already moving forward, and you've already introduced with Hector Roos to the judicial committee of the LNC, and they have rejected you. And
No,
I would
excuse me,
recommend
Kelly.
for all members to go and look at the SIC report, go and look at Jake Porter's report on Substack, and go find out the information on whether or not Angela McArdle really did embezzle $114,000 from the Libertarian Party. This is no small amount of money. And the national members from all over the country are very angry about this. and a lot of them have pulled their contributions from the National Libertarian Party because they don't appreciate the LNC not catching this quicker. They don't appreciate the chair embezzling over $100,000 of money. They don't appreciate you wasting the LNC's time with this nonsense. The litigation is already moving forward, and that's that. Like, we want to see subpoenas, we want to see like what really happened, and we want to see records, and we want to see transparency with what happened during Angela McArdle's chairmanship. So this is a total waste of time. You're trying to defend Angela McArdle it's the receipts and the evidence of her doing this is so overwhelming that this is just a complete and total waste of time. And I don't even
I'm the
know why
embezzler too,
LPHI
right?
is even involved in this. So I highly recommend for all the members of this board and all members of LPHI to go and review that SIC report and to really find out, what is really happening. And you can contact me too, because I know the information extremely well. And
No, you
I
don't.
didn't want this to be true. I was Angela McArdle's cheerleader. And it was very disheartening to find out that what she had done financially to the Libertarian Party. So this whole thing needs to come to an end, and we just need to let the LNC move forward with their litigation.
Thank you, Kelly. All right. Just to correct a few things on the record. Number one, litigation, if I can help it, will not be moving forward because you won't get answers that way. All that it is continuing the pattern of infighting and party destruction. Two, Angela has lawyers, and there's no evidence of embezzlement, contrary to the popular defamatory claims against her. And that's the problem. I would know because I've actually seen the data, unlike all the social media influencers and feds putting this stuff out online. Number three, maybe most importantly, right, the litigation that's currently being done, there's a lot of really questionable stuff happening in the LNC to try to change the delegate allocations at convention and tie state litigation of importance to our trademark to the McArdle litigation in order to basically make sure that if we don't sue McArdle, that we end up with a like party divorce situation between states. So we're getting a really, really bad look at how this is going with a lot of very nasty gamesmanships going on. And just because they think that the case against McArdle is so strong does not mean that we should throw our rules in the trash. We have defense rules like due process for a reason. It's something that we foundationally stand for. So whether you think McArdle is an embezzler or not, I think it's important that if we're going to make that determination, that it be made in the right way. I'm saying this because I think it's ridiculous that we're trying to sue a former chair, and again, the $114,000 number, they just keep changing their tune. But they're all on the same hive mind, receiving the same wavelength. And I would encourage you, go check it out. The SIC is full of contradictions, but it's 94 pages and they know you're not going to read it. So at the end of the day, it was a call center that they really want to characterize as a crime. They're doing the same thing to me, and the member that just spoke accuses me of embezzlement too. It's something they do to all effective libertarians these days. So it's a little bit ridiculous, and I'm just going to say that and bring myself back to order here. Anybody who has an opinion on that, if you have an objection to that as a member, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. You are more than welcome to voice it for the record. I'm not interested in infighting, but I am interested in making sure that NAP violations are not something that we turn a blind eye to. And that includes fraud and abusive process. Is there any further discussion or motions on this issue before we move on?
I have a point of clarification that maybe you could answer.
Sure.
This narrowly discusses the disciplinary action that was incorrectly brought in a special meeting. Is that correct?
Yes. So it'd be the equivalent of what they did would be like saying that your defense in court is you got to talk to the investigating police officers. And since you chose not to talk to the cops, we're going to consider that as evidence of guilt. and not give you any opportunity to make a case to the decision makers that are actually judging the case. And that's a fundamental like flaw in the due process. There's also big factual issues with the report too, that violate our principles on their face. But I'll avoid digressing into that. Does that answer your question, Ms. Green?
I believe so. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move us along. The contentious issues are not the focus of our state party. And yes, Mr. Treasurer, I totally agree. Due process is essential, not optional. And even if it's somebody, even if I thought Angela was red-handed guilty, there's zero reason to trash our principles in order to get her. We could do it the right way. There's, there's literally no obstacle here. Anyway, moving along. Any other objections, notice, motions, anything that anybody wants to call on this topic before I move us along? All right, moving along. Cool. Abbra, do you want to introduce the next one, please?
Yes. The chair of the Hawaii Doge Committee, Kevin Mulkern, asked us to put out a call to action, which I will be drafting and putting in the next newsletter and probably doing a couple of blog spotlights on. We want to start hearing from our community on positives and negatives of the people's experience with their government. We want to know if there's any good praise stories or if they've witnessed any waste, fraud, or abuse. And I'm still kind of workshopping that with him a little bit. We're trying to decide if it's best in like a Google form or a direct like email us type thing or what have you. But that is in the works. And then I'm just going to move right into the next topic if nobody has any questions on that.
I was just going to chime in. I would say there's some other efforts that are spanning multiple parties that are interested in the same thing that it would be really fun to try to connect them. Although I don't know if we could do it under that label.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was not sure if we should, like, if it's beyond our scope or not to ask for, nationwide type surveys. But I do know that he's extremely disheartened with the Libertarian National Party, who asked him to, volunteer for this and then had no support, no backing, no communication afterwards. And so I do want to try to support him in this effort and to try to kind of, get the ball rolling any way we can. But I also don't know how much reach we would have outside of the state. So those are some things to consider.
Right on. Right on. Okay. Is there candidate handbook formation? Abbra, is that the next thing on the agenda?
We have a draft begun. I have just a bullet point outline, kind of like how our standard working drafts start, and I'm slowly starting to fill it in. But any volunteers who are willing to help on that, even if it's small, like just checking the sources or adding a section here and there, helps me a lot. So I think that's probably the sum of that one. I know, Nick, you're probably already working on something we can kind of collaborate with on this on the financial compliance side, so that's good.
Right on. All right, before after adjournment, we will allow a time for free form discussion, provided we can keep it civil. But I think we're at the end of the agenda, so this is an opportunity for members if you want to make a motion or bring up any discussions or anything like that. Now would be the time. I'll also entertain a motion to adjourn since we are at the end of our business.
Hey, Austin, real quick to Abra's last point for the candidate handbook. For the financial, I could make that just a larger section to incorporate into the handbook if that works. no need to have a whole bunch of documents.
Excellent.
That would probably help.
That would
That way
be
we can kind of just streamline it all and have it all in one place.
right on. Cool. Any other, announcements, motions, anything like that? Cool. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any objection to
I
adjournment?
could second. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We'll let Nick second it. Cool. Any objections to adjournment? All right. Hearing none, we are adjourned, and we can circle back if you guys want to chat. To Miss Nguyen's point, the main reason for the amicus being through the party is not just about due process. While that's really important, there is oh, hey, Celina, sorry, your mic's not working. Did you miss the opportunity to say anything that we need to say? If you need to reconnect, that's fine. We can figure it out. I see you said no, I'm good. I'm sorry. If you ever have that problem, just don't hesitate to let me know. We'll pause for you and make sure we get any of that worked out. The big worry for me is a affiliate autonomy violation, because the SIC and its appurtenant disciplinary actions say that the state party should not associate with Miss McCardle, any organization that she's associated with, or Austin Paget, or any of them. And it's super dubious. And just because you can spam the Google feeds with your side of the story to get AI to parrot you doesn't mean that that's actually the truth of what's going on. It's just a convenient political astroturf method. And they can't use that to tell our state party that you can't have this person as a member, or you can't have this person on, a position of authority or whatever, right? Because that's not National's job. And it violates the bylaws in a profound way. So that's another reason why, regardless of guilt or innocence or anything like that, we have to oppose what they've done here, because it sets a precedent that could just literally shut us down on a whim. And they are demonstrating a willingness to do that. You've probably all been aware of how much toxic hate there is for me. And it's not because I've actually done anything bad except to question this
Except that you have
process.
done so much that has been bad. The
Like
way that
what?
your behavior on the LNC is so childish, immature, and disruptive. You have been a total destructive force on the LNC, and I can't wait to see you off of it. Like, and then you try to say, like, oh, I haven't done anything bad. Pretty much everything you've done on the LNC has been bad. Almost
Like what?
99% of everything you've done on the LNC has been bad.
Can you
Like,
name an example?
I don't know, maybe like when you decided to throw up your middle finger, and then the last LNC meeting where I saw you, all you did was interrupt over and over and over. You didn't follow Robert's rules. Unfortunately, the current vice chair isn't enforcing Robert's rules and keeping order, which is unfortunate, because that's an issue to keep
In
you
that,
under control. Your behavior has been so egregious. Like, if
are you
anybody
referring to
hasn't been
the,
watching the LNC meetings, I highly recommend you take a look. But just
are
about
you
any of the professional LNC members, you are not seen in a good light because of your egregious behavior.
Are you referring to the recent meeting where they tried to impose a illegal discipline on me for breaching executive session when I in fact did not?
Oh, you
And
absolutely did. That was a private executive session that you shouldn't have been recording,
oh, is
and
there
that
a vote?
you
Did
released
we vote?
onto
Kelly,
Twitter.
Did we
Kelly,
vote
I
And
to?
will.
I hope
There
to
was
see, like,
not
I don't know
an executive
why
session with
Steve
that,
Nikayla
Kelly,
hasn't pressed charges over that yet.
So you think I should
because
go
he
to
was
jail
rules
for
very
for
likely.
for
For
for telling the
leaking
truth?
audio from a private executive meeting, I think there needs to be consequences in the least.
It
It
was a
wasn't an
This is
whistleblower
a
meeting.
executive
serious
meeting.
thing.
It wasn't private and it wasn't executive. It was a whistleblower meeting. I would know because I called for it.
Over and over, all of them, this was a private, all of the executive meetings like that are private, and they're
It
not
wasn't
supposed
it,
to be recorded.
Kelly, it
In
Kelly.
fact,
wasn't
these,
an It was
the
not an
secretary,
executive
Evan,
meeting,
he's like,
Kelly.
I thought that I was in this meeting not being recorded. And then it gets
Kelly,
leaked out on Twitter. Like
Kelly,
that was just egregious behavior that
do
you
you
and
know
Andrew Chatterton have been up to. And you need to be
truth
called
telling?
out on it. And I'm glad that finally people on the state level of LPHI are finally at least hearing about it. They may not like me bringing it up, and it might make them uncomfortable, but at least they've heard from a dissenting opinion, which is more objective and more professional than yours. At least I have a job. At least I'm
You're
a,
gonna
a
have to
grown
let other
adult
people
that's
talk too, Kelly.
independent, that pays for all of my own
That
things.
Kelly, you're gonna have to let other people talk too. You can go
respectfully,
ahead.
Kelly, that's a a gross mischaracterization of Mr. Martin.
Michael
You may not
Burns
like.
I would just say that if in executive session, those contents should not be released except in extreme circumstances of misconduct, right? And even then, only really to a court. But this was not executive session. It was a whistleblower conference call asking for on the record answers to questions. And the portion of the meeting that we disclosed was an unrelated admission that was made, and it was not subject to privilege or executive session. So there was no violation of any rules, and that violation would have been an internal rule. And any law that purports to send someone to jail for defensive recording would be unconstitutional on its face because the Supreme Court has ruled that recording is speech creation. And I think it's a really unbecoming position for libertarians to say that, truth tellers and whistleblowers should go to jail based on laws that also put people who record their abusers in jail. Because in Florida, if you record someone beating your child, that wiretapping law kicks in. And it happens all the time. It's a big thing, and I'm actually thinking, LP should take notice of that. So I welcome it if Stephen wants to make an issue of that. Um, but yeah, I'm not ashamed at all of how I've behaved. I've told the truth and I've done the right thing, and it's very inconvenient to the people who hate liberty. Mr. Burns, your hand is up.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I think as members of the Libertarian Party, we should be careful about, well, to paraphrase the CIA handbook, about it basically details how to disrupt and bring down an organization. Basically, they'll send in operatives to basically, it comes down to following the book, and they'll make frequent complaints about the rules not being followed, and forcing to follow every little rule very carefully, and making constant complaints that have to be addressed and things like that. So I think it would be prudent to not, as an organization, to be careful about being absolutely rigid on everything.
Mr. Burns, I agree
The
with
process
you.
is important in general.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we don't get caught up in the little weeds that don't matter. For me, defending myself against false accusations that are disciplinary in nature and against my reputation, I mean, they were calling me a violent terrorist, saying that I was threatening people because I said that I think Antifa should be removed from the LP. I mean, it's okay if you don't like my opinion on that, right? But calling me a violent terrorist and censuring me with a disciplinary action with no due process is just kind of an example. It's not a good faith, characterization. And when I defend myself from things like that, that gets characterized as disruption, right? So I'm aware of the CIA handbook, and I encourage everyone to read that. The reason that's so pernicious and bad is because most of those things are legit things that minority factions can do and should do in order to uphold their rights. And so it's very hard to tell the difference between someone who's making bad faith delays to disrupt versus someone who is legitimately exercising their rights, right? On a committee. And I think the key is alignment. Like, you know, when people are trying to make a difference for liberty, it shows, right? Like they may disagree bitterly over some things, and they might try to slow it down or stop it if they can, right? And that's one thing. But it's different when it's things like the New Mexico litigation, right? If we don't all agree on that, we lose our ability to have a trademark and enforce our like brand, right? We basically lose in some sense our ability to control the party, and anyone can call themselves the Libertarian Party and challenge us in our identity as a movement, right? So, like on things like that, when you see people like me and Andrew saying, "Hey, this is really messed up. There's dire consequences if we don't act, and we could get sued, and we're breaking the law if we don't do what we need to do." It's not because we want to stop the committee or because we want to like hijack anything, but because we're
Well,
desperately trying to protect.
you told me to my face at convention that they put you on that Mises Caucus put you on the LNC so that you can wreak havoc and raise hell. So
That
that
isn't
goes
what I said.
completely against what you just said.
I'll repeat exactly what I said. They picked me to pick a fight and punch them in the nose, is what
That's
I
not
told
what
you.
you told me.
Yep, to pick a fight and to punch them in the nose. And that is exactly what I've done. I've picked a fight and I have punched them in the nose just
You
like I
just go there
promised
to
to.
raise hell. And that's exactly
No,
what you told me at convention.
I go there to defend
I'd
our
be happy if
principle
they
from attack.
recognize principles again.
Sorry, Abbra, I didn't catch what you said. You can have the floor.
I'd be happy on the national side if they just recognize principles as binding.
That's
Yeah,
another one of those red herrings that you've thrown
it's
out.
it's it's not a red herring. They are legitimately
Awesome.
saying the principles don't apply to the LNC in black and white. They said that. And if you think
No,
it's
it's
okay for them,
not. This was
Jonathan
Didn't
specifically
they
McGee
have
was
Congress as
literally
to
well?
on record saying that the statement of
this is
principles doesn't apply
specifically
to
in
natural.
regards to the statement of principles. And he was legally saying, Jonathan McGee was just saying, like, no, the statement of principles is not what you think it is. We go by the statement of principles, but we follow the bylaws and we follow
They
the
were
handbook.
aspirational and non-binding.
You were
yeah,
just
that's
like
that's
making
that's
up things
exactly
that are not there.
no, what you
So
said
it's
perfectly
actually
agrees.
in the
Yeah.
document and it's hyperlinked on our website. You can go see it.
I've already read it
Yep.
and it's
Look,
nonsense.
look in the organizational handbook, of sabotage, right? You can find out very quickly that you can take an absolutely ridiculous position that's not supported by fact and defend it as if it's good faith, and no one can call
And
you
that's
out on
exactly
it.
what you're doing.
I mean, people can read for themselves. If you think that's what I'm doing, then my committee can stop me.
Yeah.
My voters can stop me. But Kelly, the only people who think that are people who identify with Antifa and are absolutely hostile to the
Are you
NAP.
saying that I identify with Antifa?
Well, you identify with people like Kyle Davis, who is certainly not doing very nice things to our party infrastructure, in my opinion.
Well, are you saying that he's Antifa?
He identifies as being anti-fascist, though most Antifa members will deny being a member of a group called Antifa. They will identify usually as being part of that ideological spectrum, and they will generally support those movements. And the problem that I have with them is, there's lots of good anti-state movements out there, but if they embrace violence and um, you
Which
know,
Kyle does not do. Kyle's a
uh,
libertarian. He abides by the NAP. I don't. You're just
no,
making things up about him.
he wants to change the
So
NAP, and he and Amanda both want to change the NAP to allow for defensive, like organized institutional violence for
Where
political
it's
reasons.
there's a Torch article by Amanda Griffiths. I don't have the link right off the top of my head, but yes.
It's on our
Amanda
website too.
specifically is on record stating that.
So
Now,
No.
whether or not you think Kyle agrees with her statement does not change the fact that Amanda said it herself.
I
When-
think there's a misunderstanding here. There's some conflation here, it sounds like, between the non-aggression principle and the Nolan Pledge, which are different things.
It's not.
Like the
It's
Nolan
not
Pledge
a
is basically like,
misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding. I've talked at length with Mr. Davis about this. Okay, he believes that we should go and show up armed at these anti-ICE protests, for instance, and that while we wouldn't initially start shooting, that we would be justified to respond to the predictable violence with organized violence of our own. He says this in no unambiguous terms.
He does have
And
Second Amendment rights.
well, while that's true, showing up armed at a protest where you know that you will have, the barest justification to use it is not just profoundly irresponsible, but not activities that are consistent with a political mission.
I've
That's
been
an
to multiple
insurgency.
protests
We
where
fight for
people are
people's
armed.
rights.
have you
We fight
like
for people's rights. We fight for people's rights to do so. But the way that
I
we
am
fight has to be tactically sound. So if you get your entire movement killed as
Well, that's up
insurgents
to
and
him.
start a
That's not up to
war,
you. It's
no,
up to him on
it
how
is.
he wants to be tactical and where he wants to carry his firearm. That's not up
I'm
to
a
you.
I'm a
If
director of the corporation.
If Kyle is encouraging libertarians as a whole to do that, that is tactfully unsound strategy that Mr. Martin should express concern over.
And on top of that, I'll just add for those who are worried about my lack of fire on this. If he was saying the same thing about press gangs running around in the towns, right? I would actually totally agree that we should be showing up to those and fully resisting with all fire and all means necessary. But I still wouldn't make that a political point of rally because it would destroy the movement, right? Even if I totally agreed with Mr. Davis's sentiments, we have a responsibility to lead as libertarians and not let our passions derail our whole movement.
Okay, Austin, do you want to tell me about the post that you made on Facebook where you say reporting posts in an uncensored group is fake and gay, and then you reported your own post? Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, happy to. So when somebody reports someone else's post because they disagree with it, right? That's a very unlibertarian form of censorship that abuses the rules to circumvent someone else's First Amendment rights. It's pretty messed up. And when, that happens, it sucks. But
So were
when
you
Mr.
violating your own First Amendment rights? Because you
Absolutely
reported
not.
your own post.
Well,
Nobody else
actually,
reported your post but you.
I reported Mr. Saliba's post because he was threatening to kidnap Mr. Kaufman and drop him off in a dangerous part
So
of
I'm not
Detroit.
talking about Mr. Sleevan's post. I'm talking about your post
I've
that
never
you
reported my
reported on
own.
your own post. Why did you
I
report your own
I
post?
Which
You're
post are
clearly
you saying
mistaken.
that Mr. Martin reported?
I've never reported my own post, at least not on purpose.
I have the screenshot right here. Would you like me to upload it into the chat?
I mean,
Go
feel
for it.
free, that would be very interesting, but I'm pretty sure I reported Mr. Saliba's post.
Well, I have it right here that you reported your own post.
I don't even know which post
Show
you'd
it.
be talking about. I don't know. If I have ever reported any of my own posts, I would probably assume that's a pocket dial. But I do know
No,
that my
you
posts
have to
have.
go through several steps to report a post. You can't butt dial that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have. I'm saying if you produced an image that said that, I would not be able to explain its existence because I've never done that.
Well, it's clear that you have done that, and the admins of this group, it's clear to them that you have done that.
Yeah, Kelly, you said you were going to upload the image. Please upload the image
Okay,
if you have proof.
just one moment. It will take a moment.
By all means. But again, I've had my posts removed in that group before, and I assumed that I was being flagged by opposition, and they claimed that I was auto flagged by the bot, and they showed me screenshots claiming to show exactly that. So I
The
haven't.
admins are saying they have not flagged any of your posts. So the truth is that you flagged your own post because you
Wait, are
wanted
you
to
just assuming
gaslight the
that?
admins
Are you
into
just
accusing them
assuming?
into flagging your post.
So
That's
you
the
think
truth.
you just made that up?
No,
Like you just totally made that up.
everybody knows that's what you do. Like,
Everybody knows that, huh? And by
Was this
everybody,
a
you mean the LP allies?
was this a party account? I'm failing to see the
No,
connection.
she's talking about my personal Facebook post in a group that got pulled. It's been a
Oh,
while since any of them have been
who
flagged, so it's
cares?
probably like months ago. And the
who
admins
cares? This
denied
is about his behavior of
the admins
setting up situations to try to gaslight people. This
the
is
yeah,
manipulative
sure.
and bizarre and narcissistic behavior.
I
And
agree,
like
Yeah,
Kelly.
that's
everybody that
not a
is your
party
friend
account.
needs to
I
know that you are malignant narcissist. And here is just one of dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds of examples of you being a
you know what's
malignant
funny?
narcissist that
I didn't
gaslights
know
other libertarians.
I didn't know who the admins of that group were until I posted my frustration at having my post
I think you
removed.
have
And
a
then Kyle
fan.
Davis, your
The
friend
truth
Kyle
is
Davis
that
called
you
me.
don't know how the internet works and you
Your friend Kyle Davis called me and explained to me that I was auto flagged by the bot. And I do have screenshots of that conversation,
we're not
but
in meeting anymore. You shouldn't be muting me.
you haven't you haven't provided any screenshots. And you also need to
You
allow
She,
need
other
to
people to
know
she
talk.
that the
actually did post
admins
one.
can
I don't know
see
if
your
it's edited
posts.
or not, but it is in there.
Let me see this. I'm curious.
She's saying that you reported the post where you called reporting posts faking gay.
That's actually a group question and answer. When you enter the group, it asks you what your answer to that question is. That's the admins doxing my answers to the group. That is not me
You wanted
reporting
to
the post.
accuse people of censoring you, and you got caught.
No, ma'am, I did not. And I don't think this says what you want it to say.
100%. Like, you
I did
gaslight
not.
people, you falsely accuse people, you make things up, and you play victim every
Do you notice?
single little opportunity that you can make up. That's how you behave. And
Okay.
every single
Thanks for
libertarian in
sharing.
Hawaii needs to find out.
So
I
thanks
was
for
saying,
sharing.
you have a
I
fan.
appreciate I appreciate your sharing your opinion. That's cool. If that's what
It's
you
not
think
an
from this
opinion, it's just
from
objective
this
fact.
if that's what you think from
More
You
like
this,
an
you're
obsession.
yeah, it's a little weird, but it's okay. Hey, Kelly, if you think that I made that up and flagged my own post, I don't know what to tell you. You can think what you want.
The
Um,
screenshot's right there.
it doesn't say that. That's from the group question and answers. And besides, I
No.
didn't report that. I never reported that post. I don't know what to tell you except
Austin,
I
can you
reported
upload this to YouTube, this
Kelly.
recording?
Sure, yeah. And I'll tell you, you see the number of reports? See how there's one? There's only one report I've ever made in that group. And really, rarely ever reported anything except actual violence or abuse. And I
Okay.
reported Saliba for threatening to kidnap Jeremy Kaufman. And that was just today. First report I made. And you see that number
That
one
has
next to
nothing
the
to do with
report?
this.
You see the number one next to the number of reported, right? That's pretty dispositive to tell you that this screenshot is absolute
I
fucking
mean, it's
libel.
cute how hard you're trying.
if I may,
Oh, it's
Kelly,
cute.
what that screenshot could be
No,
showing,
no,
and
no.
I think that's
Stop
what Mr.
covering for your
Martin.
friend. He's caught red-handed. You can see it too. You know that this is him creating a post and that him reporting his own post so that he can accuse people of
Will
trying to
you let
censor him.
me
You
answer,
know
or are you just
this.
gonna cut me
Like,
off,
you know
Kelly?
this is true. Like,
Kelly, please let him talk.
so that you can try to like defend him when you know he's in the wrong. Go
Kelly,
ahead.
Kelly,
I
Go
will
ahead.
you allow me to say my
Go ahead.
piece, please? Okay. As somebody who has been and is an admin of a couple different groups, you will get notifications when you have pending reports. That screenshot could, in theory, and probably does, show a pending report from Austin, which he just explained was the Mike Saliba thing. And then they are showing his answer to the question and answer.
Okay, so we can have the admins put in their input as soon as you upload this to YouTube, because you've made a lot of accusations to Kyle and to Amanda and to the admins of this group, and they're not here to defend themselves. So, but
Okay.
that screenshot is clear. You're trying to cover for your friends. Really,
Like,
you should have just
it
the
just
only
seems so stupid
accusation
and petty.
the only accusation I've made is something that Amanda would admit to herself because she literally posted the Torch article about it, which was in relation to the nap. It's the
I'll
only
be
thing
honest,
I've made.
Kelly. I'll be honest, Kelly. I believe that your accusation is entirely fabricated in bad faith with a selective screenshot that's intended to deceive the people in this room
okay
because you have an agenda.
to
Just
get
being
the
honest.
Libertarian Party of Hawaii on track.
I just
That's
want
my only
the
agenda.
the reason
And
why
to
we're
get the
having this
narcissist out.
conversation is twofold. One, I respect what members have to say. Number two, I think it's really important that other members get to see the behavior that the leaders are dealing with. You're not criticizing me over anything legitimate here. You're making a totally made up fake claim that is totally a
Okay.
got you, knowing that nobody will go do the deep research because it's so petty and irrelevant. It's just made to make me look like a liar.
Isn't
Not
that what you're
because
doing with
there's
the SIC report and Angela McCardle?
That's what it's really about, isn't it? I have a different opinion on something that is not okay, and the CIA friendly members of the LNC cannot tolerate intellectual diversity. So they engaged you,
Okay.
right, and others in order to come and basically start shit and
I'd be
disrupt
honest
and
with
try
you, like
to.
LNC members don't really engage me.
And Kyle Davis does.
Kyle's not on the LNC.
Kyle might as well be.
Okay.
From the
I will
bylaws
I will
committee.
also say this before, and I said this in the chat portion as well. Making legal accusations before a conviction has been made is legally unsound at
So
best.
this is just more Mises caucus, like threatening to sue people when they say things
No,
that you don't like. This is just
I'm strongly of the opinion that if somebody wants to call somebody a fraud, it's not defamation. Unless there's a clear, like, bad faith, absolutely just they know it's false and they're just trying to get you. That's different, right? And that's a high bar to prove. Like, I think that's what's happening here, but I doubt I could like prove it in court. Like, Kelly, maybe you misunderstood this screenshot and maybe
okay.
they presented it to you this way. I don't know, but if you won't take my word for it, that's fine. I don't
I
blame
mean,
you, and you
this
don't
is
have to trust me.
everything you're saying is just a manipulation. And
Okay.
I've lost count of the amount of times that you've threatened to sue me.
I've never threatened to sue you, Kelly, and I don't intend to. Although
Okay.
I would
I mean, I can
appreciate
upload those
you.
screenshots too.
Okay, I definitely threatened to sue John Ponte, and I told him I was sorry for that. But to be fair, he's in possession
You
of
shouldn't
stolen
be
data.
threatening to sue anyone at all. Why is this not
Why
a
not?
lesson that you've learned recently? Because it's
Why
highly
not?
inappropriate and caustic and toxic.
No, toxic is, look, Kelly, I respect your opinion. I don't like lawsuits either. But I think
You
sometimes
love
when
lawsuits, Austin. How many lawsuits have you filed in the past 5 years?
only
LNC
how
loves
many
lawsuits
lawsuits?
too.
That's funny. I've sued the government a few times. I haven't sued any individuals other than Scott Nago, the chief
Okay,
elections
so
officer.
that does count.
Are
Okay.
you really going to hold it over his head for suing the government? Because
When it's frivolous, yes.
What makes you think it was frivolous?
Or if it's not being frivolous.
It's just
If
I
you
will
start
let
by knowing if you
anybody
start
else
by
wants to
knowing that
look
I'm
into the lawsuits that you have filed, then feel free. I'm not going to explain every single thing. I'm not going to go down every single rabbit
I
hole.
witnessed election fraud and I reported it and they tried to destroy me for it in the exact
Okay.
same way that the LNC and people like you are trying to destroy me now for speaking up against the McCardle
Destroy
scandal.
you. This is such an exaggeration.
You
What we're
falsely
trying
accused
to
me of
do is get the
embezzlement. You
Libertarian
you
Party
repeated
back on
you
track.
repeated claims by confessed feds who admitted they were working with organized crime, the Miskey group and the feds admitted not just on a secret recording, but in
This
fucking
is
writing.
just like
And
autistic,
you took
this is all just psychotic, made up
their attempted entrapment
nonsense.
job, and then you repeated it as if it were true.
Oh
But
my
these
gosh.
were actual Republican. They sued the Republican Party to get them off the ballot while their group
Oh
actually
my
took over
gosh.
the
I
HRP.
mean,
This is in the news. You could read about it.
what like drugs are you on, Austin? That like you're just
You want me to
making
drop that?
all of this up. I just like there
I
must
am.
be something better that you could do with your time than
You
to
know,
just be
dude,
making up these
if you're
false,
being honest,
bizarre accusations that are just
this
not
is great.
true.
This is great because if you're being honest with me that you think that that's bullshit, I have this article here that I'll drop that's from the Hawaii Free Press that actually covers this and talks about what happened to our party and to the
Okay.
Republican. Here you go. Miski Hitman cleans house in 3 political parties from the Hawaii Free Press.
Wasn't that wait,
Those are the
the
people that you
Republican
quoted.
guy that
Yeah,
you recruited?
Carl and Dan
The
and Robert.
the
Recruited is a
Republican
strong
guys that
word.
you recruited into the party?
You mean the ones that I bounced, got confessions of their being feds, and then
Okay.
went public
No,
with that,
I'm saying that's a
exposing it?
yes or no
Yeah.
question. You recruited them to you recruited feds into the Libertarian Party.
No, I did not
Uh-huh.
recruit Reds into the
Okay.
Libertarian Party. They did
Okay.
find out about our convention through me, though. I'll take responsibility for that, but that's not, it's a public thing. So, besides, like, what do you expect me to do? Run a background check? Hey, Mr. Chatterton is entering the room. Step aside, people. This is getting really interesting now.
Oh shit.
Mr. Chatterton, welcome.
Do you really not have anything truly better to do with your time than to continue whatever?
Busting
Like
feds?
this is
Busting
total
feds?
nonsense.
Busting
I
feds.
did hear today about Michigan. Did
Yes.
he the lawsuit and the $30,000?
If you expected somebody to comment on an ongoing legal matter, that'd be just as
It's no
unsound as what
longer
you did earlier.
ongoing.
I'm
It's
willing
no
to
longer
I'm
That's
willing to
ongoing.
comment.
debatable.
I'm willing to comment on it. This is a good example of why one
So
of
that
my
you can lie
number
about
one
it? Because all your
issues.
comments are lies.
I'm glad you think that. One of the major issues that I have is judicial immunity. I think we need to get rid of judicial immunity. It's absolutely a destructive thing in our country, and it covers up election fraud, both in and out of the political parties. Hey, this is something I just thought I'd drop in the chat here. This letter was what happened when we tried to collect and really tried to force an NDA on those feds, and they sent us a letter saying that they were feds, and we caught them actually reporting to the FBI
Being like,
straight up. And that article, that's me in my spy gear, by the way, guys. I thought I'd drop that just for laughs. But that article up there is really intense, and there's several related articles beneath it that you can read to find out how our party, like they had us. They had a majority on our board. And Abbra, me, Aaron Tolman, other libertarian regulars came together and kicked them the hell out. This is just,
these were people that you invited to the party.
I mean, you'll find a way to blame me for everything. So sure, whatever.
Okay. So, or you just don't want to take responsibility for the things that you've done.
What did I, work for the feds? No. Did I
No, but
infiltrate
you
the
did
Libertarian
recruit
Party?
all of these
No.
people that you decided to kick out later on because they didn't agree with you for one thing or another, and then you accused them all of being feds.
Dude, they were coming
You
whether I wanted
exited
them.
when it got hard.
So
Yeah.
you accused me of being a fed.
I still am wondering, why did you react that way to Carl when he said he did some digging into your background? You blew up and started screaming "fuck you" at him. I wonder
I have
what he
no
found.
idea what you're talking about.
You don't remember that?
Digging into my background?
Yeah, he said,
I have
I've
no
gotten to
idea
know
what
you
you're
all
talking
real
about.
well. Okay.
No,
I
you
mean,
are making this up.
okay.
You can dig into
I
my
mean,
background all day long. You're gonna fall asleep. Look,
cool. That's what I thought too. I mean, I haven't found anything really exciting, but Mr. Carl said something and you started screaming at him saying "fuck you," and then after that, you
you
and I
are
didn't
just
talk.
making things up. I did not tell anyone F you.
We were
I
so
don't
cool before that.
appreciate you trying to slander me on this Zoom call because no such thing ever happened.
So, and after that, you took the website that you had control over and never gave it back to our EC. Would you be
What are
willing
you
to give us
talking
our?
about? This
We
is
still have
another
our
false
domain.
accusation. I gave you the username and password, and the website that's currently up right now was the website I gave you the credentials for,
No, it's
and I
not.
removed myself.
It's a
This is a
brand new website.
completely and totally false accusation.
It's a
So,
brand
like,
new
you
website.
do
We
nothing
had to.
but do false accusations.
I have the
Just
corporate record here. We created a new domain because we lost the .org and the .com for Libertarian
because you
Party of
didn't
Hawaii.
renew because you don't know how to manage websites. You
No,
forgot to, you didn't know to renew the
because
domain name. That was your responsibility.
you refused to
I'm
hand it over.
literally a web developer. I've been
I
building
know.
websites for almost 20 years.
That's how
So I
you
know
conned us
what
out of
you did
our.
wrong.
I
You
believe that
didn't
you
renew the
stole our
domain. That has
domain.
nothing to do with me. Like,
Yeah, you were in charge of it. You were the
I
only
was
one with
not.
access.
I
We
I'd
still
gave
don't.
still
you
like to know
everything. I didn't have
what was
access
with
to
the
anymore
blow
after I
up that
left the
night.
committee. These are 100% false accusations. You're throwing out red herrings, like, and I don't appreciate it. Maybe I should threaten to sue you for slandering me in the Zoom call.
Go for it. Truth is a defense.
Like, this is
Sorry,
absolutely
Mr. Zehr.
ridiculous. I have too much going on in my own life. I have too many projects that I'm doing where people actually pay me. Like, why would I care about keeping the credentials for the LPHI website? I gave them to you, I removed myself, and I washed my hands of it. And now you're blaming me for mismanagement that you did later on because you
Can
don't
you
know
show me?
anything about websites,
Can,
because you've
can,
never had a job, you've never been a professional, you don't know how to do anything right.
cool, thanks. Now, can you show me the receipt from when you sent that to me? Because I would be really glad, and I'll apologize to you right now if you can just bump that email to me. I'd be grateful.
You can
Because
search into your inbox on
oh,
your own
don't
when I
don't
sent you the
worry.
credentials.
I
But
have.
guess what?
We
I'm
bought
not
a
the
new
only
domain.
one that had the credentials. Brady Stewart also had the credentials. You could have
No,
gotten them from him. So all of the information, all the credentials that I have, Brady had that and more, and he gave them to you. So these are completely false accusations. And these are, you do the same thing to everyone else. You make up false accusations and then you spread rumors, and none of them are true.
I'll tell you.
Like, why
If
would
you're
I
right,
even care? I wouldn't even waste my time.
if you're right, I will happily apologize to you publicly
Okay, so
for
you, how
but
many
I don't.
more apologies? You've given me so many apologies already for all of the things that you've done wrong. You
No,
would
I've
just be
offered
doing
them.
another apapology.
I've
Like, I'm
offered.
not
I've
gonna dig
offered.
up
Nicholas
any
left
emails
the
for
main
you.
party
Like,
board.
I mean, look, the party website. We don't have libertarianpartyofhawaii.com anymore. We would have to
because
file
you didn't
papers with.
renew the domain, dumbass.
No, it's because we couldn't get control over it because it
You
belonged
had
to someone
credentials
else.
to the domain registrar. I don't even think you know what that means.
Just
But
like LP National had access to the Civi data.
I don't even know what you're talking
This
about.
is a long-standing pattern of
I,
sabotage. I'll just be
Okay,
honest,
I'd
and
this
it's
is
like
just
it's
to go
another
nonsense.
back to
made up
the previous
accusation.
question if possible.
Look,
Why
I
the
don't have
rage quit
time
and
for any more of your made up accusations. I've made my
but
peace. These
that
are
part is
all
on
100%
recording.
made up
So
accusations. And this
but
is
it's
just
on
your
recording.
nature.
You know,
This is just your nature.
Why
And
did
I'm
you
glad.
now
rage quit
everybody that's in the
and
Zoom call
hurt?
at least has heard. So they may not believe me, and that's fine, but at least they've heard someone tell them the truth about your nature, which is just
What's
to give false
the truth
accusations
about your
when they're
resignation?
uncovering the truth about you.
What's
And
the truth
at
about your
least they know now.
resignation?
Kelly, you're going to have to let other members speak. Abbra, go ahead.
What's the truth about your resignation? Because I was tuned in for that meeting myself, and yes, you did. You screamed high volume, curse words, the whole bit, and then you rage quit. What was up with that segment of time?
Kelly, you're muted. You can unmute though. I mean, I guess that answers it. I appreciate that, you know, criticism is part of this job, and sometimes it's earned, sometimes it's not. But, you know, like there's a great principle and responsibility that I've learned, and it's just better to take responsibility, you know, where possible. So, you know, um, I'm happy to, you know, answer for anything that anyone thinks that, you know, I've done. I just ask that they, you know, bring those things respectfully and in a way that honors our principle. So if Kelly, if you feel like, you know, I've done something really wrong and there's a problem, I encourage you to, you know, talk to other members of the committee and have them bring me up on charges if there's something serious to the party, you know, if I'm lying to try to get people, that would be serious. And honestly, if there's someone doing that, I'd support you. So, you know, by all means, feel free to do whatever you feel like you got to do. Um, I I personally I think it's really important that we like look at what we actually want to do as a party, right? We want more than just to get candidates elected. We want more than just changes in policy, right? And so it's hard for everybody to agree on how to get there. Um, and sometimes we're going to have those disagreements, but I think it's really important to note that like our worst opposition, if we're doing our jobs well, should be coming from outside, not inside, right? But it's not just a matter of how well you're doing your job. You know, the enemy will put on our clothing and will take shots at us from inside our own ranks. And that's the worst and the hardest thing to deal with, right? And the way that we deal with it is really by having a spirit of cooperation and brotherhood. We giving the benefit of the doubt is dangerous because there's bad actors out there who will take advantage of it. So we have to like do the trust but verify mentality. And you know, if you guys feel like anybody, don't care if you know, if you think I'm wrong, you know, and you like me, you know, don't hold back. Like this is about the party and not about personalities. So I just want to encourage anybody that, you know, if you feel upset, I don't agree with Miss Nguyen's characterizations, but I do want to make this a place that is possible to air things, no matter how out of step they seem with reality. If you're a member, I do want to make sure that your voice is respected. So. Any further discussion?
I thoroughly enjoyed this meeting.
Thanks, Bryce. You know, I was thinking the agenda might have been a little too light, you know, that maybe we needed some more like isn't there more like business decisions? Like, nah, mainly the deadline's coming up and just a lot of footwork for that. But I'm glad we had this conversation afterwards. And Kelly, I know that you're not happy with me, but I do appreciate you weighing in and taking the time on this. You know, it's unfortunate that you have the opinion of me that you do. I'm not sure if there's anything I can do to break out of that, but I do take, you know, criticism seriously, even if I think it's unearned. I will seriously consider and, you know, try to watch out to make sure that I don't, you know, um, relax my own standards. I do, you know, care very much that the kinds of things that you're saying, you know, are not factors that we have to contend against in the fact and the party. And you know, if my personality gets in the way of the Libertarian Party, man, then my ego is the problem. It's got to go, right? Like, and I hope we can all kind of adopt similar mentality on that. Um, yeah, floor's open. Anybody else want to say anything, or are we pretty much good? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. Well, we'll cruise. I'll go ahead and at least stop the recording. We can hang out for a few more minutes if you guys want. Um,